Hi friends, I want to take just a minute and relate a story that's been in the disabled community kind of grapevine for about a month and a half, and is coming to light in the wider community because it's being pursued now as our Friday by the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Justice Department and by other groups such as Disability Rights Texas. And that's the story of Michael Hickson, a 46-year-old black quadriplegia, or man who was a quadriplegic, who was diagnosed with COVID 19 on, I think, June 5th and transferred to a St. David's Medical Center in Austin and passed away on June 11th after being denied potentially life saving medical care based around what doctors said was a lack of quality of life. And there is an audio recording of his wife asking, is it because he had a disability and a traumatic brain injury and was a quadriplegic? And the doctor said yes. We have that on tape. And what the news is now saying is there was evidence that Mr. Hickson was communicating with his family and nodding his head and communicating with his children just days before his death. And the family says that he would have wanted to live. He made gestures to wanting to live. He fought for 3 years to maintain a relationship and go to physical therapy and fight off like various health consequences of his accident, which led to his quadriplegia, which I think was a sudden cardiac arrest. He did this for 3 years, and up until a few days before his death, was communicative. And the doctor still made a quality of life judgment that he had a lesser quality of life. They have since said it was because he was suffering from a number of underlying medical conditions, but the tape doesn't say that. The doctors didn't communicate that with his wife at the time that he was septic or anything else. It was just a very cut and dry brain injury, quadriplegia, that's it. And what I want to bring forward in the last couple of minutes of this blog is that this is why I said several weeks ago that people with disabilities have to wear the effects of public health on our bodies as embodied realities in a way that the able-bodied community does not, because no one talks about the quality of life if a 46-year-old triathlete comes down with serious COVID-19. We do what we need to do to save that life. Quality of life becomes an open question in a field of discussion if there are underlying disabling conditions. Texas and a number of other states use a point system to determine whether a person receives treatment if the hospitals are at critical care capacity. And the point system automatically docks points if somebody has an underlying disabling condition. For most people, quality of life is like a bank vault. There are several layers of security before we get to the end stage, end game quality of life conversation. For disabled people, quality of life may as well be a broom closet which may or may not be locked. We feel able to talk about quality of life because we automatically assume that quality of life starts from a lower standard. with a disability than it does for somebody who's able-bodied. And I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I'm just talking about societally. These are things that still go on. These are conversations that are still had. So I ask you to bear witness, continue bearing witness as we talk about COVID and its effects as concerns the disabled and people who are not white, because this Michael Hickson was also a black man, so this story is not only a disabled story, it's a black story, it's a non-white story, and how those bodies also experience justice or the lack of justice in medical settings. And COVID is bringing that to light. We can't just talk about this as a disabled story or a black story. It's both. It's a justice story. So continue bearing witness, friends. I recommend to you the work of NPR around this story. Their article was posted late Thursday, early Friday. I recommend to you the work of bioethicist Devin Stahl out of Baylor University. Anything that she says on this subject is going to be solid and very good. She's quoted in the NPR story, but continue bearing witness, friends. Justice for Michael and all those like him. Thank you.